Those who cannot adapt to change often end up embracing destruction. You see, there was once a time when the universe was filled with nothing but darkness, and from this very darkness emerged the wrath of Knull. What exactly happened that made Knull become a god? Why is it that even when all the superheroes unite, they bow before Knull? Even the creators of worlds tremble at his very name, and I'm going to tell you why. In this video, I'm about to tell you an absolutely incredible story, Knull versus the Avengers. But hold on, there's more. We've recently received some exclusive information that will make you even more excited for Venom 3. So, make sure to watch this video till the end to uncover all the details. Oh, and don't forget to like, share, and of course, subscribe to the channel. And this is where the story begins. First off, let's dive into who Knull really is. Well, let me explain. The name Knull means nothing. In fact, the darkness of the universe was once simply referred to as space. After the Big Bang, beings known as the Celestials, godlike creatures, emerged. They wanted to fill the universe with their creations, but Knull wasn't having it. He stood in their way, claiming that this universe, this endless darkness, still belonged to him. Now, when the Celestials refused to listen to him, and guess what? Knull used this sword to decapitate one of the Celestials. The other Celestials weren't going to let this slide, so they captured Knull. But during his time in captivity, Knull was far from idle. Knull forged the all-black Necrosword and had the power to kill gods. Eventually, Knull escaped his prison, and what happened next? One of the most notable events was when Knull crash-landed on Gorr's planet. There, he discovered that he had the power to control other beings through his symbiotes. With this new ability, Knull created his own army of creatures. Sitting on his throne, he commanded these beings to erase all light from the universe, plunging everything back into darkness. But here's where it gets interesting. One day, two of Knull's creatures accidentally fell to Earth. And who do they run into? None other than Thor. Thor's mighty lightning shattered Knull's control over these creatures, and they became conscious. When Knull got to know about this, he was furious. And he confronted all the symbiotes at once. It was during this moment that Venom, yes, the Venom we know, gained his name from Knull. From there, Venom and other symbiotes rebelled against Knull, trapping him in his own creation on the dark planet of Klintar. Now, you may be wondering, how powerful is Knull, really? Well, let's break it down. For a reference point, let's compare him to Kang and Thanos to know his power. Kang was a multiversal villain, and Thanos had wiped out half of the universe alone, and he proved his strength by fighting and defeating Avengers. But what has Knull done? So for example, if a lion can kill an elephant, how long do you think it would take for that lion to kill a crocodile or a bear? In the same way, Knull wiped out an entire race of godlike beings called the Celestials. So, taking out Thanos or Kang wouldn't take him long at all. But, as with all powerful beings, Knull has a weakness. As I mentioned before, Thor's lightning is one of Knull's weaknesses. But here's the thing. Knull wields the all-black Necrosword, a weapon so powerful that it can even destroy its own wielder's weaknesses. Once, Jean Grey from the X-Men tried to control Knull's mind to find a vulnerability. But to her shock, she found absolutely nothing. She couldn't believe that such an entity could exist without a single flaw. And that brings us to the central part of this story, the epic battle between Knull and the Avengers. So, stay with me here, because this is the moment that shows why Knull could easily be the villain of a Secret Wars-level movie. Our story unfolds as Knull breaks free from his prison on Klintar and heads straight for Earth. Meanwhile, Eddie Brock's son, Dylan, becomes the target of Knull's wrath. The Avengers quickly prepare to defend him. Tony Stark takes to the skies, racing into Earth's orbit to stop Knull. But when Knull's symbiote army arrives, they collide with Tony's ship, causing a massive explosion. Tony celebrates, thinking his plan worked. But when you look closely, you'll see the bodies of the symbiotes falling from the sky, covering Earth in a thick black sludge. And then, Knull himself arrives, and everyone is left in shock. With Knull's arrival, the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man all unite to fight him. That's the scene on Earth. Meanwhile, Venom makes his way to Knull's throne and tries to sever the connection between Knull and his army. But here's where it gets even scarier. Venom sees something that absolutely shocks him. Venom discovers that Knull has resurrected the Celestials, and they are now under his control, heading for Earth to fight in this war. Think about it for a second. Knull, who killed the creators of the universe, now has these Celestials fighting for him. How insanely powerful does that make him? Amidst all this chaos, Captain America devises his ultimate plan to kill Knull and win the war. And the plan was, he calls upon Sentry, one of the most dangerous beings in the universe. Sentry has two personalities, Sentry and the Void, and both are equally deadly. There was once this instance when his Void personality took Carnage to space and ripped him in half. So Captain's plan was an immediate success when we closely see that the moment Sentry enters the battlefield, he rips one of Knull's massive symbiotes in half. But he doesn't stop there. He grabs Knull and takes him into space to kill him. However, Knull remembers Sentry's death and, with a single strike, tears Sentry apart, revealing that Sentry's second personality, the Void, had been under Knull's control all along. The situation was grim. The being summoned to defeat Knull was destroyed in an instant. In his rage, Knull covers Earth in his symbiotic darkness, enveloping the entire planet in blackness. He captures Eddie Brock, separates him from Venom, and leaves him tied up, helpless and dying. Knull then infects the remaining heroes, pushing them further into despair. At this point, the heroes are forced to join forces with villains just to survive. Amidst all this chaos, Tony Stark comes up with a brilliant idea. He captures one of Knull's creatures and infects it with the Extremis virus, successfully taking control of it. He then repeats this process with one of the Celestials, gaining control of that as well. Now, Tony Stark has a Celestial under his command. But even that wasn't enough to defeat Knull. Knull hadn't even entered the battle because no one posed a threat to him. No superhero was even equal to him, and all hope seemed lost, while something shocking happened. That's when Thor arrived. Thor, the god of thunder, unleashed his fury on Knull, shattering his jaw with a single strike. But Knull instantly healed himself, leaving Thor stunned. Taking advantage of Thor's hesitation, Knull impaled him with the Necrosword, binding Thor in chains of symbiotic darkness. At this point, everyone was wondering, could Knull ever be defeated? And then Silver Surfer arrived, wielding the power of light. If Knull commanded the power of darkness, Silver Surfer controlled the opposite, the power of light, which was even more powerful than darkness. As soon as Silver Surfer entered the battle, he wreaked havoc on Knull's forces. But as he descended into Earth's atmosphere, the power of light began to fade. Just when it seemed hopeless, Eddie Brock reunited with Venom. This time, however, Venom absorbed cosmic energy, making him more worthy of wielding Thor's hammer than Thor himself. So Venom snatches away Thor's hammer while it was still in his hands, which was the most shocking scene of this war. With the hammer in one hand and Silver Surfer's board in the other, Venom forged a cosmic axe. And with this cosmic weapon, Venom finally struck down Knull, dragging him into the sun, where Knull was ultimately destroyed. Now imagine that an entity this powerful will be seen in Venom: The Last Dance. But can the movie truly capture the threat Knull poses on an Avengers-level scale? According to recent reports, the creators of Knull have reviewed the script for Venom: The Last Dance, and they've hinted that Knull's portrayal will exceed all our expectations. This news has sent fans into a frenzy for Venom: Last Dance. Also, Donny Cates states, "That's how you treat a king." The hope is Venom: Last Dance will be a fun ride for Marvel fans along with Knull's introduction. And if Knull appears in a Secret Wars-like event, it would be an epic treat for Marvel fans. And that wraps up today's video on Knull. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. I'll see you soon in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thank you for connecting with us.